Hi there. So this is my first ever post on YouTube in English, my first ever video in English. My name is Annika. I live in Rovaniemi, Lapland, and I'm a knitter. I also weave, but mostly lately I've just been knitting. This winter I've been posting videos in Finnish, mostly about Icelandic knits and how to knit sweaters, some techniques and stuff like that. But I thought maybe I should try and make a video in English as well. I've been really conflicted about language on social media. I never know if I should be posting in English or Finnish. On Instagram I'm fairly active. There I'm in English, but somehow I felt like Finnish is such a small language group that I felt I wanted to contribute something tutorial wise in Finnish, and so that's why I was making videos in Finnish so far. But anyway, enough about that. Let's see how this goes. I'm probably gonna be posting simultaneously in Finnish and English, not about the same content exactly, but maybe I'll do more about these sort of diary-like videos in English from now on. We'll see how it goes. It's all touch and go. I think people are used to that by now, due to COVID-19 and just a lot of uncontrollable stuff happening to us right now. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, so I live in Rovaniemi. It's right in the north of Finland, a few kilometers south of the polar circle. And right now it's it's February already, February 2nd, and we've just come out of the polar night. We have more daylight every day. We're past the really dark season. Where I live, it's the south of Lapland. It doesn't get entirely dark for more than maybe a few weeks or so. The way it works is that we have maybe about 4 hours of sunlight in December, and that amount of sunlight is not really like a lot. It's more like I don't know how to describe it. It's like we have dusk. It's dark most of the day, and then when most people would have daylight, we have a couple of hours of kind of dusk, and that's it. But it sounds like it's really hard, and it is kind of hard living with the darkness, but then the contrast again is that we have the midsummer midnight sun in the summer, and I love living up here. Nothing would move away from here. We have 4 drastically different seasons. I find it so inspiring to see all the contrast, see the colors change. Every time it's unbelievable to me how the same landscape can be so different just 6 months apart. You know, the snowiness of midwinter, and then the green, the lush green, the explosion of green in the summer, and then in the autumn the explosion of colors. We call it ruska when the colors, the turning leaves. And to me this is my home, my spiritual home. I'm originally from the south of Finland, and speaking of language, my mother tongue is Swedish, so I may be thinking in another language that I'm speaking, and so I don't know. There's like an ongoing translation in my head. So a little bit about me. I have a family. I've got a husband and a boy. He's 3.5. We're very outdoorsy. We spend a lot of time outdoors, even in the winter. And yeah, we like hanging out, making a campfire and cooking some food, and even in the winter. So my favorite genre in knitting is also outdoor knits, and I mainly knit. That's one of the reasons I absolutely fell in love with these Icelandic knits. One of which I'm wearing right now, is that they are such excellent outdoor garments. I mean, I don't know any other yarn where you could, in my size, with about three, let's say 8 times, with about less than 500 grams of yarn, get such a warm and fluffy garment. They're also a little bit water repellent, which I enjoy, and they dry very quickly if they ever even get wet, or they get wet very slowly and then they dry quickly. So I'm a major fan of wool. I try to get most of my clothing in wool also, other than knits. I wear woolly shirts underneath my garments most of the year, yeah. So about me as a knitter, I knit outdoor knits. I make, sometimes for fun, I like to make scarves, you know, fancy like brioche stuff and stuff like that. But that type of stuff is fulfilling to me technically, and I like doing that. But I've also discovered, after about, I don't know, 15 years of knitting, that I don't actually wear that type of accessories a lot. So I become a bit of a minimalist as well with what I make. I'm what you would call maybe a selfish knitter. I mostly knit for myself and the few people around me. But I've discovered that it's best to just make stuff that I know that's going to be worn. And so that sets the parameters of my knitting quite a bit. Where I work, we have work clothing, and sometimes I can wear a sweater there as well. But when you have to work, or you spend, you know, a third of your life or half your life at work, that immediately cuts out a bit of your wardrobe. So the rest of my time I spend outdoors, and so that's why I make outdoor knits. My favorite kind of stuff yarn wise is color work. So I really like seeing how colors play together. I have a past in art, so I'm a fine arts major, and I started with painting when I was in my early teens, and just absolutely fell in love with painting and colors and how they match together. I think I started with acrylics, and then when I was studying in university I painted a lot with oil paints, and then I've just kind of taken all of that and now use it in knitting. So actually the sweater that I'm wearing, it's a bit of a prototype, so the pattern itself I'm not entirely happy with. Well, a prototype is a prototype, so this was a pattern that I needed to try out. But what most of my practice sweaters and these are just explorations of how colors work together. And it's actually kind of an interesting time in Europe right now. I don't know if it's like that elsewhere too, but in Finland there's been such a huge hype with knitting these Icelandic sweaters that they're running out of yarn, and there's only a very limited color supply left. You can see next to me I've hoarded quite a bit of colors. That's partly because I make sweaters to order as well, so I have to have kind of a color supply with me all the time. But it's unusual that there is only a limited amount of colors left in a yarn that would normally be readily available. But I think that's nice. I think it's fun to have a challenge to have only a few colors or a limited amount of colors to play with, but still get extraordinary results. So I think that's one of the first things you learn with painting as well, is that you have three basic colors: blue, red, and yellow. And then from there on out, you start mixing those colors, and you start working with putting the right colors next to each other, so that, for example, red becomes more red, or putting the right kind of green next to red so that the red becomes more blue, or it looks more blue. So it's all about making colors interact with each other, and that way get the desired result. With yarn and fair isle knitting, you obviously can't mix colors the way you would with paint. You can't like put them together, but the way you mix colors is by putting them next to each other, and that's what I enjoy so much about these Icelandic knits. And I recently ordered a big batch of just white and light gray yarns, which I plan to dye myself this spring or come summer. I have a couple of yarns right here that I dyed using acid dyes this winter, and basically in a very good color chart, which this Litlopi yarn has that I've been using. There's only a few colors that I've been missing. For example, in the reds, there's one color that I've been looking for a lot, which I ended up dyeing myself. I made a video about that in Finnish earlier, but was this kind of peachy pink. So when I try to make colors interact with each other, I often try to find some kind of, not necessarily neutral, but sort of an in-between color that can work with a lot of other bright colors. And some of these, oh my god, now I've already gone full on into color analysis and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe I should go further. Yeah, I'll go a little bit. So some of my favorite colors at the moment are this type of very goldeny brown. This is kind of a sophisticated color, which is hard to make work. Well, not hard to make work, but I'm a very colorful person and I like a lot of bright colors. So this is the kind of color that I would normally find difficult to use, but when I put it next to this kind of damn, I just can't think of the word. Help me! Putting this kind of off the hand boring color next to kind of a bright, almost kitschy color just makes them, this is like right off some kind of Barbie dollhouse palette, and this is right off a very neutral, natural brownish color. In itself, this is maybe too boring, but this by itself is maybe a little bit too kitsch, maybe a little bit too Toy Story or something. But when you put these kind of two colors together, they become amazing. And then adding more colors to these, it's oh my god, you're going to think I'm some kind of crazy color lady. Well, I am. I like colors. So what I was saying is that at the moment I really like using neutral colors that are not too much this way or too much that way, and making them work together with bright colors like this, or a very bright green like this. So I'm all about that, and I think I will never run out of energy to talk about colors. So there's going to be a lot more coming up of that. However, I know that at the moment there is a trend of, in knitting, there's like a trend of doing textures and grays and blacks and neutrals right now more than color. So but then again, on the other hand, there is also the trend of doing these Icelandic knits and a lot of color work. So that's what I find so cool about knitting, that there is no one not like there's never just one single trend that's ongoing, but there's always something for everyone's taste. And I think knitting and making by yourself, it's so beautiful because you get to truly realize yourself and truly dress the way you feel comfortable and truly express your own thoughts and ideas. And I think that's why I started knitting when I was in university, and though back then it was just about learning, mainly learning a lot of techniques, not so much about the philosophy of knitting or the ideology. Nowadays it's more for me about the ideology of just making stuff yourself and making that meaningful, and clothing being something meaningful, not just something that's factory made. And though I am a bit of a speedy knitter, I like to make sweaters, but I might like to make them quick. I still find the act of making, even though I work quickly, it's deeply meaningful to me. And I think that's one of the things that's so beautiful about the knitting community as well, is that there's this whole network across the globe right now that finds it meaningful to make your own clothes. It's like this massive protest to fast fashion, and that's cool. So like I mentioned, we're also really outdoorsy people. Plan on taking these videos more and more outdoors. Actually, I started doing videos for last March, a little bit under a year ago, when the lockdown started for COVID-19 and I was laid off work for a couple of weeks and so on. But that's when I started kind of playing with videos. I was posting these longer stories on Instagram. The weather is really nice. It's sunny, plus 10 or something. Us Finns love talking about the weather. I've noticed. I've got my tent set up here behind me, and there's a lot of life going on here on this little lake. A lot of birds. And now I've kind of moved on to YouTube, I guess. But those videos back then were mainly done outdoors, and that's what I will be doing in the coming spring and summer, autumn as well. What I like doing the most outdoors is, other than knitting of course, is we enjoy a lot of well, I'm a biker, so I fat bike. I have a mountain bike which I use on a weekly basis. Also in the winter we have some of the best tracks here in Rovaniemi, winter tracks, so I do a lot of that. Hey, so I just biked up here on top of the hill. Thought I'd say hi and show you just how pretty it is out here. It's almost like you can touch the sky. The sun is shining and the view is amazing. The sky is so blue. This, my friends, this is what it's all about. I've got the trail up ahead and I'm down here in the trees. That's my little cutie bike. I love my bike. And the sunlight is kind of like up there in the treetops. I think it's something like 1 p.m. right now, and the sun is just dimly coming, or not dimly, it's coming through the trees, so the light is still kind of dim. And the absolute clear air, sky, and the blue shadows on the snow. And there you can see the bike track again. It is just very pretty out right now. This is by far maybe my favorite time of the year. I say that about every season. So, I think that's maybe all for now. This wasn't a terribly long video. This was more like an intro. I guess I could show you one piece that I'm working on right now. It's an Icelandic knit, of course, yoke sweater, which I'm making top down. A couple days ago I separated the sleeves from the what do you call this? The belly part, the bottom, yes. And this is my own design. I've well, not entirely. I took the number of stitches from a pattern in this book, the by Jónsdóttir, Icelandic Knits. I'll post a link in the box. And but then I often make my own patterns, and this is made to order. So there was a woman who wanted these specific colors, and I actually struggled with them a little bit at first. She wanted turquoise, gray, and ochre yellow. So I'm typically work a lot with purples and greens and browns and blues and violets. So this was really a new type of challenge for me. At first it felt a little bit difficult, but now I'm quite happy with how the colors work together. I think she will like it too. I don't know, maybe she's watching this and now the surprise will be spoiled. I don't know, we'll see. But I should be finished with this in a couple of days. Maybe I'll show it again then. For the sleeve pattern, I plan to make this bottom part here. Yeah. Now, I realized this video may have been a little bit all over the place.
Oh.
That's me. I'm often all over the place. That's what it's like living with a toddler. But I hope that you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching, and if at all you feel interested in learning more about how I work with colors and color interaction, or seeing more of the outdoors with us this coming warm season, I invite you to press subscribe, and I hope you all have a good day, have a good week, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.